So for some of these smaller details here, we may not want to UV unwrap each one of them, right? So for example, eyes or the teeth. So how are we going to deal with the eyes? Well, when we were modeling, I told you to point this pole as though it were the pupil, right? So I'm going to show you now how to quickly texture this using the hypershade and with blends without necessarily having to UV this object, UV unwrap. So I'm just going to jump into here, get rid of those tool settings. I just want to make it as easy for you to see. Click on Blinn. First, I'm going to make a white Blinn, and I'm going to drag that onto these two eyes here. Make it a little less, turn down the eccentricity a little bit. The roll-off and the reflectivity we could turn down a bit. But we still want these to sort of pop out as though they're eyes. Okay. Now we're going to make a black Blinn. I'm not going to modify any of the settings just yet. I'm actually going to jump in here. Right? And for this innermost loop, you can't really do select edge loop, I don't think. Right? You try to do select edge loop, it's just going to select that one face. Sorry, not edge loop, that shift double click to select that whole thing. The whole edge loop, actually, yeah. So I'm just going to right click, assign material to selection. That's another way to do it, aside from middle mouse button clicking and dragging. Go back into object mode and see how that looks. Okay, eyeball's a little bit too shiny. We'll just turn down the specular color, turn down the eccentricity a little bit. Oops. The black pupil is what I'm trying to turn down. Okay. Okay, it's looking kind of nice. Just actually, if you want to just delete this eyeball, save ourselves the trouble, we're just going to duplicate this, but first, a lot of times we have, right, so as humans we have eye color. Maybe our zombie should have some eye color too. Maybe a nice green. Make it a pretty dark green. Okay, and we could name all these materials as well. You know, if I was doing this in a production environment, you would definitely name all these materials. And if you're planning on bringing this into Unity, definitely name all these materials. So actually, for the purposes of the demonstration, I am going to rename all these materials because we will be bringing this character into Unity. So I have him here. I'll just drag these down. Okay. So that's one eye. Control D after selecting it to duplicate it. That's the other eye. Now you'll notice here it's stuck inside the mesh a little bit. Just kind of rotate that. Looks about right. Okay. We could do something for this nose here, for that crevice if you wanted to. You could also use the 3D paint tool. Paint it a little bit darker of a tone for the nose. I'm good with that for now. As for final touch-ups, we might do something with that. The teeth here, I'll make another Blinn. We could technically use the one we made for the eyes, but just to give us full control over the exact specularity properties and stuff, you know, teeth shine differently than eyes do, and we want our material to reflect the actual properties so it looks more realistic to our viewer, even in something cartoony such as this. See, if we give him such white teeth, he's not going to look like as much of a zombie. I actually may even want to put in, you may want to UV unwrap these teeth just so you could put in some effects there. Like some of this goo, we could actually put that on the teeth there too, just like I showed you how to do with the head. But I'm going to move forward. I'm going to save this first, and I'm going to, please remember to save your work. And I'm going to texture the hair now. Okay. Click on it. Right click, assign material to selection. It's very specular by the default, so hair is something that, you know, we want to turn that way down. So light's going to hit it, but we don't want it to be that shiny. Okay. Next, we're going to deal with the body. And how are we going to do this? The body is something that we should probably or definitely actually UV unwrap. And the more I look at this, the white is actually bothering me for the teeth. So what I could come into here is I could come in here. Let me just right click, select object material, just making sure that that's the teeth material. Yes, it is. I want to do a light green for the teeth. And I just blast down that specularity. Alright. So something like that's looking nice so far. So in the next part of this tutorial series, we're going to continue to UV unwrap these other major parts of our character.